Welcome to the grim, lawless 23rd century, following the fall of U.S. Gov and mass depopulation of major cities at the hands of the multi-trillionaire DeHuberton family. Baptized in radioactive hellfire, a rare mutation makes Turbo a fiercely pumped scrapper, haunted by specters from her past, surviving the post-apocalyptic wasteland one deathmatch pit fight at a time. But when she rescues the stunning trophy girl, the unlikely duo are thrust into a harrowing odyssey, evading marauding berserkers at every turn on their way to the ultimate showdown as they uncover the horrific truth behind the fall of humanity.
Episode 103, one episode away from our 2-year mark. Good morning, Jake. I hear we have
Hello.
a chock-full packed episode today.
We are chock full of nuts today.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we have
As always.
We have a couple of different segments, so let's just jump in. While we're drawing, so welcome everybody to Making Turbo Pit Fighter. I draw on the left side, Kurt draws on the right side. I'm doing pencils, he's doing inks. I'm doing issue number 2. He's doing issue number 1, which is all pencil. The one thing that we have accomplished is finishing all the pencils for issue number 1. So Kurt, I'm just gonna dig right in. Yesterday, I went to the Brooklyn Independent Comic Con. I forget what they call it. It was like Brooklyn Independent Showcase or something. And it was in conjunction with St. Mark's Comics, which used to be on St. Mark's in Manhattan. People might remember the famous store with the checkerboard pattern. Well, now they're in Industry City in Brooklyn, which is like this big converted like factory loading dock like plant that used to probably make like, widgets or something back in the, 1920s or something. And now it's all like, boutiques and breweries and distilleries and, restaurants and, it's a really nice community space. So they have this outdoor Comic-Con, and if you're showing the picture now, I was able to stand up on a bench and take a photo of it. So this was an indie con, and all the indie creators were invited to table and put out their wares. The tables were very inexpensive. I was considering going, excuse me, but I'm glad I didn't because it was about 45 degrees yesterday and windy as hell. And I was miserable just visiting there. I even regret just going there because for me, coming from the suburbs, it was gas and tolls. And, if I'm at an indie con, I'm not going to be buying that much. I bought 2 pieces while I was there. And one of them is, from somebody that I met that we're going to try and get on the pod. Another one was like, when you're talking to somebody and you just feel really bad for them because they're like, broke, but they're working their fingers to the bone.
Yep.
So I bought a $20 graphic novel of somebody who's a small publisher, and I'll show it to you on a different episode. But do you have the capability to stream the video I took? Because we can do a walkthrough, and folks can really get a sense of what's going on in Brooklyn because it's a very, very creative place.
Let me go ahead and give it a shot. I've got the video queued. I'm going to do a share screen. Here we go, and I don't see the.
Oh yeah, you know what? Maybe it's that thing where it makes a third separate stream, and then you have to paste it.
It does, but I've got to find the video. Let me see if I can bring it in. Oh,
right. I mean, I can do a low res version of it.
I got it.
You got it
now. Here, hold on. Can you see it, Jake?
Something's happening.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, here we go. We're gonna play. And you're. It's gonna be all noisy because you're doing it. But yeah, let's.
It was a noisy thing.
Here we go.
For sure, yeah. Oh well, it's kind of skippity on my thing, but here you can see there's definitely some creative people doing comics. Some people had a nice like quick printed comic, but a lot of these younger people are doing this thing where they're just doing like prints and stickers and magnets and stuff. There was somebody that was doing some block printed T-shirts and block prints. Those little prints, like they just get these little prints from Staples, and I think they just sit there and sell them. And I don't know how well they do. I saw a couple of people that were transacting money, but it's kind of a new thing for me for comic artists, young comic artists, to sit at a table and just try to sell a couple of pictures, that they drew, basically just turning pinups into the product, Now there was a name that we both know, and unfortunately he wasn't at his table at the moment that I was around. But I saw Cosmic Lion on his table, and I saw Relic Hunter on his table. So there was a guy by the name of Mike Wolf, and he had a setup there. And I remember the Cosmic Lion guys that we were talking to that had mentioned him as one of their contributors. So I missed my chance to be able to talk with him because he wasn't at his table. I guess he was getting some food or something. So this is really just a walkthrough of all the variety they had there. If I had to estimate, I'd say maybe they had 70 or 75 or 80 different tables, maybe 100. And I ended up talking to a couple of people. There were some pros there, some Marvel and DC guys there, but not too many, maybe like 2 or 3 of those. There were some definite self-publishers, indie people. One of whom I spoke to, and he was a professor at School of Visual Arts, SVA, in the city, where they do have a pretty good college level program, for people that have, tons of money or student loans or whatever. But, it is a really decent school for that. And remember, that was the school that I took that one adult course, night course with Denny O'Neil. And a lot of great creators have taught at SVA, including Klaus Janson. And, I couldn't even go through the list. That's the guy right there with the Lugosi graphic novels. He's a pro, and his day job is just sitting there doing biographical graphic novels. He did one of Rod Serling, one of Bela Lugosi, and the other one was like the Velvet Underground. So it looks really cool. And then, he does one class a week at SVA. Some of these guys are just, self-publishing, really just like, weekend warriors putting their stuff out. There was a couple of people that were just into like zines, like going no further than, Xeroxing, and, self-stapling, I guess you would say. But I wanted to give everybody a taste. There was some good artists. There was some husband and wife teams there, or else like, supportive spouses there. And I went so you didn't have to. But this is an annual thing that is outdoors, and I think if they just had it a little bit later in the year, they might get good weather because it was a little bit. The rain was spitting a little bit at times, and the wind was blowing, and it was basically just cold. So by the time I get there, some of these creators were just like shivering. But Kurt, I noticed you didn't have a word to say throughout that whole thing. Is your volume disabled, or is it just like?
No. I just wanted you to get.
Okay.
Your commentary because it's only 3 minutes long, and
Yeah.
I think I'm actually going to slow it down, so it might actually be still running right now, and it might snip out a little piece here and there and everything. But that was really fun and exciting. But I do have to just express a personal dislike for. It's not even a gripe; it's a dislike. I really believe we have outgrown for selling comics, and it goes all the way back to the beginning statement you were making about, there was a lot of people there selling prints and stickers, and I saw a lot of swag, and that's that punk rock flea market type of thing, which I'm totally down with, but I think the really tough sell is selling a comic book at $20. Now you had said that you had ended up in a really engaging conversation, and therefore it kind of caused you to say, you know what, let me pull the trigger and purchase this because I really enjoy the artist. I want to support the artist, and that's a great thing. I'm not trying to dismiss that. But I feel like the outgrowing part has come down to, and I've actually, in my own hometown, tried to help a local comic book show years ago do this, is sell a anthology that would then have QR codes linking out to then more material about that. So for the price of admission, let's say $25, you get a black and white, even if you're making a color comic, too bad. It was one of those things, logistically, you got 5 pages and then a page where it's totally showing off who you are, telling us about you, and then having that QR code to find and purchase more of what it is, because I really feel for individuals that on both sides of the fence. In other words, the person sitting on one side selling, which I've been at, and then I've been on the other side, just like you were at that show, where you're just like, oh man, I feel kind of bad, but that's not my stuff. And that's the thing. I have only eyes for very specific things. Black and white is one thing. Let's say underground, outlaw. Those. I have all these little ticks. Barbarian, Vikings. I have all these little ticks in my head.
Yeah.
But some people just I want to talk to. But they seem to come off like really, really, really bad salesmen. Like they're gonna they always try to bring you back. Well, like my comic book. Well, I did this in my comic. My comic book talks about. You're like, no. Let's just talk about comics. Would you like to just do that? And sometimes it happens. A lot of times it doesn't. So I really put it out there that I believe if you're going to do a show, I think especially locally, there's so much great talent that's just not being able to get out of town to go spend $1,000+ in Baltimore or New York or fly out to the West Coast and do a San Diego con or what have you. But then if I'm walking out with a anthology and a couple weeks later I see it when I'm cleaning my studio, and then I go downstairs and have a cup of coffee and I start flipping through it, I might actually hit your shit and be like, oh crap, this is not my wheelhouse, but this is like super interesting. Let me go investigate it. Take my phone out, hit the QR code, boom, I'm on your Instagram website, blah, blah, whatever it is. So that's just my PSA.
Yeah,
because I just saw a lot of miserable faces. I mean, I know it was a tough weather thing, but
those guys had already been there for 2 hours, and the thing goes to 7:00, so they were going to be there forever. And a lot of them didn't seem like they bundled up. This is the first thing I bought. Let me tell you what happened. I went to this publisher guy. He had a table, and he does Fair Square Comics. Now, these guys were at the High School of Art and Design Comic-Con last weekend, and Fabrice Sapolsky was one of the presenters. He is he's an artist, but mostly he's a publisher, editor, publisher, and he's got this company. and they do really high quality stuff. He works with great artists, and he hires them and everything. And he does this full time, for a number of years. He has 30 comics out, and he's working with a lot of Marvel and DC pros all the time. But the problem is, he says it's a grind, and he says his life is, production, production, and it's everything he can do. These things are out on Kickstarter. He says he got another Kickstarter launching next week. And look, this is great stuff. The quality's there. We spoke about like how these pages are packed. Some of these are fully painted on tablet. These are exactly what you're talking about. That they're anthologies. I bought this one because he recommended it. He said it's a lot of like Pulp Fiction type story here. But then there's other styles in here. I sold them. I was usually into the sci-fi and stuff. But look how interesting. This is just like people in urban scenes or whatever, and they make it interesting. The pages aren't sparse. So, it was $20, and I bought this, and I moved a couple of tables down, and then I immediately regretted it. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but I only had like $40 to spend, and I come across this young woman named Olivia. Oh, sorry, Olive Nicole.
Oh wow, and that's really cool.
I was immediately drawn to her artwork. It reminds me a lot of street art. It reminds me a lot of Vaughn Baudet.
Yeah.
And then I asked her who her influences are, and she told me a couple of names that I didn't really realize.
Oh, I would have bought that.
Yeah,
I would have bought that. That's sweet.
And I should have got. So this was 20, and this was 20, but she had another black and white home printed floppy, which I wanted to get too, but I was already broke now. So, or I had already hit my limit. Let's say
I was already broke.
Well, because I wasn't gonna do $50 at this fair. So I gave her a copy of Turbo. I invited her onto the pod. She says that she has to work Sundays, but we'll work something out. And so I'm gonna follow up with her. And
cool.
I really like her art. Yeah, and we were talking influences, and so it's hopefully somebody that we can line up for an episode of
That's
comics
awesome,
that influence. Yeah, she seemed good. So that's the thing, folks. Do a whole once around before you buy anything, right?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Because you might find, you want to manage your money a different way.
I actually bring these with me. They're always in my pocket, or I have like a little pad. You can get those little like 99-cent pads with the spiral at the top. And I walk and I keep it cupped in my hand. And then as I'm walking away, I'll write, Viking comic, an artist,
right.
That kind of thing. And then I go back and I'll even write down like 20, 10, 50, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then I do go off to the corner and then start assessing, maybe even have some lunch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at a real con and there's like hundreds of tables, you gotta keep track some way. But this was relatively.
Well, it's a really good way to support artists that are going to cons. I don't do it, but I don't do it as an artist, but I have done it as a fan. Is track down people that you want to meet, and then get a commission from them.
Yeah.
Because that directly is putting money in their coffer in order for them to do the show and then come back and not have to take extra shifts at the McDonald's to not get evicted.
Support your local artists. Yeah.
Or when you get let's say for instance Baltimore Comic Con or SPX, they're 2 day. Well, Baltimore's 3. But I always get there. I do the whole weekend, but you get there on that Friday night and you go find them, and then you sign up, and then you give them the money, and
right.
By Sunday when you're leaving, you're getting your art, or they might have gotten overworked and they didn't get it to you. They didn't get it to you, but then they always do you one good and then they mail it to you. So, I think it's a great way to support artists,
Yeah,
other than buying comics.
Yeah, there is a point to going to cons. It's not about the bigs, and it's not about the promoters, and but
it's not about cosplay.
No, well, not for us. But there is, there are some bargains to be found, and if there's some nice vendor tables and on back issues, and and then meeting real people, who are just like us is always great in person, and you can share some stuff right there. You can share some stuff right there. So that is my report, and this we did promise in a previous week that we were going to get through a little bit of the eBay haul that I made from a Canadian seller. So let's do that. I haven't looked at these since I bought them, so I'm just looking at these fresh too. This one looks very ElfQuest-ish. Mythography from...
I think that has to be.
Bardic. No, that's not ElfQuest.
No.
This looks like color pencil. Yeah, somebody did a color pencil cover, and it looks like an anthology. So Mythography number 3 is put out by Bardic Press. I've never heard of it, but now I have a copy in my hand, and this deserves investigation. Here is TSR Comics. Remember, we did a segment on their history a little bit, right? And Marv Wolfman, when I see Marv Wolfman there, it always makes me think that this is like translated, but it's called R.I.P. Death is just the beginning. And look, Pat Olaf is a name. This is good stuff, and it's full color inside. From TSR Comics. Come on.
Yeah.
This is Widow, made in Britain. To me, this really reminded me of Aeon Flux, right? And Peter Chung.
Yeah, that's cool.
This art style, and
she's totally
licking a blade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is really Aeon Flux. I can't read. Folks, if you're doing this,
what year is that?
Good question. It's 95.
Okay.
Widow, made in Britain. Folks, if you have a company, don't make your logo like illegible. It looks like a V. I don't know. The company is called N Studios Limited. So is that an N? Oh my God, that's an N. N Studios Limited. Not the best logo. And this art style looks a little bit amateurish. So it looks like a lot of fun. Also, it looks like maybe influenced by Lady Death and some of those comics. It looks like a product of its time period. But
it's all about hot chicks.
Total rip of Aeon Flux. This was interesting for me. I've never saw this before. Yesterday I saw a creator who had a female wrestler character, and it reminded me of the Doer Powerbomb art, but I didn't buy a copy because she was sold out and she only had her sample left.
Wow.
Which means like she was quick printing them and she only had one. Left. This is Marvel Comics Ultra Girl. I've never heard of her. She looks muscly. She looks muscly.
What year?
1996. Wow. 1996. So, Marvel's newest powerhouse, Marvel's sassiest powerhouse. And it looks like the guest starring the New Warriors. So this was a period of time where I was out of comics. There was a team with Nova and some of these other characters that are just like, not my thing. But looks like action-packed pages. I don't see a lot of muscly women here. I see a lot of ads, honestly. I see a lot of talking. So, this might be nothing more than a nice cover, but Ultra Girl number 2, and so that deserves some investigation. Here is Tom Strong's Terrific Tales by America's Best Comics. And I noticed the website is wildstorm.com. So this is Alan Moore, with a big name, Art Adams, Sean McManus. Some interesting stuff in here. It looks like good quality, but it's an anthology. So Terrific Tales is kind of like a showcase of America's best comics with all of these, creators. And then they probably have their own breakout books. So I picked that up so you can see. Here, this was exactly what you're not supposed to do with Photoshop, and you're taking a scan of like a pencil and like color pencil page, saturate the crap out of it, and then print it like that where it all goes way too dark and oversaturated. Maybe it's the printer's fault, but Derek Wayne Jackson looks like he's putting a lot on the page here. Book 1, 1994, Strapped. And it looks like this, tough guy here with a gun. He's putting a machine gun in somebody's face. Inside, you're getting a little bit of this. So this looks like a power comic to me, in a good way. And, this deserves more investigation. I bought a couple of these Death Race 2000s. They had a lot of them. And I want to see if they have anything for me, to inspire some of our chase scenes in Turbo. So I'm going to look through it. It looks like inside there's this guy who's got a very kind of like Walt Simonson style. His name is illustrator Kevin O'Neill. And he's got kind of like an imagey style, but kind of like free flowing, like Walt Simonson, maybe a little bit like Howard Chaykin. So I'll check this out. I got number 2 and number 5, so I'm just going to be looking at bits and pieces. Here is a Dave Stevens ripoff. You can see a mile away, but it's good. It's good. This is a nice cover. And then here, I think the art got a little different, but it's also very imagey. Here's Trinity Angels. I like this because it had a graffiti cover. This is like kind of graffiti-ish or psychedelic lettering. This was put out by Acclaim Comics, Valiant Heroes. I don't know what that means. This looks like the TNA era, 1997. Where it's not like a porno or anything, but there's a lot of scantily clad heroines running about, full color glossy. Good production value. I just never heard of Acclaim. And Valiant Heroes, is that like, yes, published by Valiant, a division of Acclaim Comics. So I don't know why this isn't Valiant Comics with their usual logo. Could it be another Valiant? It says a division of Acclaim Comics, which I've also never heard of. So a lot of confusion here. I'll probably have to go online and Google this. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
What are we talking about? A giantess?
Giantess.
Or is he a little Lilliputian? Which is which? This looks a little amateurish right off the bat to me. They're trying to lay some zipatone. What's that? You like it?
I like it.
1985, right?
Nice.
So we're going back in time.
I'm down.
I'm down. Look at this.
Wow. Come on.
A lot of zipatone. So this one might need an episode because this.
Oh, definitely.
Like
I'm gonna put you on the
highway
for that one.
Here's some AC comics. I got 2 of them. And the usual Mark Heike, story by Bill Black. The heroes here are they don't even give you the names. What are their names? Miss Mask or I'm trying to remember the names of the characters here. I don't remember any of them.
It's Night Vale.
Wow, look at this.
Ooh.
Right, Night Vale and whatever the names are.
Hellcat.
Oh, look, cosplay on the back. No, Hellcat's Marvel. Check out this cosplay on the back.
A Hellclaw? Don't they have like a Hellclaw? Yeah.
No, Hellclaw's my character.
There's a...
I'll tell you one thing. I see this prison scene here. Hellclaw is
Miss
my
Victory. She-Cat. I was thinking She-Cat. Sorry.
She-Cat, right. Well, let's look at an ad here. Let's see if we can get some names. I think they just forgot to put the names of the heroes on there. But, yeah, Miss Victory, Rada, She-Cat, Sin, and Stardust. Those are some of them. And then, wow, they have some classic art here. This looks like a Bill Ward style. And then somebody even made a statuette here. That's amazing. Yeah, AC Comics folks are always great. Americomics, Femforce, Fem Comics, all good stuff. Lots of photos. The world's smallest comic company, they call it. And this is from 1983. Look at this. Full color, glossy, coated stock paper. This is a Starlin-esque artist right here. And 1983, I could see this guy's just channeling Starlin and maybe a little Steranko. Good stuff. Now, this is why I went online to find this, to find this right here. I had Full Throttle. I had one of two, but I wanted the other one. And I noticed that this guy had it online for very, very cheap. I wanted to get the other one before I do this on a Comics That Influence, because this looks like, a cross-country chase with trucks and motorcycles and everything and guns. And I needed the other issue. So I go online, I find that this guy has Full Throttle, and then I'm like, wow, it's going to be $10 just to get this thing shipped over from Canada. So I say, what else does he have, or she? And they had all these comics super cheap. And so I said, if I bundle up, a ton of comics, will you give me free shipping? And they were like, yes, if you hit 50, I'll give you free shipping. So I bought all these comics for either less than $1 or less than $2 each, mostly less than $1, like 73 cents US. And Kurt, guess what?
What?
I get this Full Throttle home. It's number 2 of 2, and I realized I already had number 2. I needed number 1.
Oh!
So this is for sale, folks. Imagine my surprise. Here's Made in Hell, and this is Harmon Comics, what looks like somebody's last name. I see a lot of don'ts here. If you look very closely, you can see this is a low res scan that was pushed to 300 DPI at size. You can see that they're just using a font here, right? Folks, always customize your. I mean, a lot of people don't, but please, come on, make yourself a nice masthead. Like, look at this. This is beautiful, right? Like, or look at this. Like, this masthead really got my eye, And then, you have mastheads like that, which is like, all right, you can see.
Well, I like the thing that's striking, though, about that cover, that coal black, is that it's just coal black, and then a figure holding another figure in a white background. $1.50 big. I mean, that just screams independent. It just screams it. It's like you're gonna win with this comic. But it was produced at a time where there was no hindsight 50-50. Nobody was thinking that. It was just that's what they had and that's what they put out. But the inside is like, how many of these books the covers really don't even do any justice to the interiors, and then the opposite. You get this full-blown, awesome painted cover, and then inside it's, 2 steps above stick figures. And just
this one's really good. This one we're gonna have to do an episode on. I mean, this one has it all. Look, you got the Flock of Seagulls haircut. This is Marcy Post basically. You got Helvetica lettering. You got the back cover is a dot matrix printer of individual comics for sale from Comic City in Minneapolis for 50 cents. So $2.50 postage and handling on all orders. But you can just, I mean, who's to say they're going to still be there? You got the Vision and Scarlet Witch, number 1. So, a lot of good stuff. But this one, Made in Hell, I got it because, I had to see. It looks like 87. It's very thin. Oh, this is just a preview ash can, so this might be worth $10,000. But it's low res scans. They have no idea what they're doing on as far as print print quality. I could even see you could even see the lettering through the other side. But okay. And finally, Harris Comics presents Vampirella versus Hemorrhage. And Mark Baer cover. So he was a guy that did some AC work in the past. I don't know. These are sparse comics. I think they really just kick this stuff out, crank this stuff out. This is like if Image Comics, was still going today, and I'm just looking for the year here. But Vampirella comics, they probably come out like 3 or 4 a month. So that is my report, and now we can get back to some other segments.
Well, let me jump in real quick because I want to piggyback your AC Comics haul with my own AC Comics. I got a FemForce #1 in. Oh, wow. But get this. I got a FemForce special #1. The Untold Origin of FemForce, 68 pages, full color. 20th anniversary FemForce. And then this is Yesterday's Syndrome. And they even threw in a free comic. But guess how much I paid for all that?
$5?
$17, including shipping and handling. On eBay.
Yeah, that's worth it.
But here's the thing. Now, this was I just wanted a FemForce 1, and FemForce 1s individually right now are going for $20. So I got FemForce 1. It was great, and it was an auction. So I definitely want to get my. We should do a FemForce. We should do an AC Comics that influence. I've got #1 right here on the top of my list. So the next time we have time to do which I think next weekend. Yeah, actually next weekend we're off from interviews, comic book indie comic exchange interviews. So I'm hoping that we can get some time and do some.
We've done at least one on AC before, but we can always come back.
I do more.
Because whenever I find ACs and they're affordable, I pick them up because Bill Black is one of a kind. He's not going to be around forever. He's been around for like 40 years or something crazy like that, and he put together a really good company that had a very high focus, a very intense focus on strong female characters, and
they're at the top of my list for new indie comic exchange, or just getting them on. So once we have the teaser, which by the way, so very close to finishing. This is my final version, printed, all clean, ready to go. But once we get that, I want to get that from, when I have it printed, they will be the first ones I send out just for, the new people we want to start getting in. Because I would love to have over and over conversations with them, because they also seem to be working outside of. I can't say that. Because they do have Diamond distribution. So I was going to say something, but it's not true. But I want to know more and more, because it's Mike Hakey and his wife. I can't remember her name right now, but Mr. Black is in the back, just based on his own timing and age things. So we are smitten with them.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's because it's what I'd love to do. I'd love to have a comic company and have artists and a stable of people that work with you and just keep putting stuff out. So a couple years out, maybe that's what we'll be able to do. But Kurt, I wanted to. I have two things. One's a quicker thing. Did you know that my iPhone let me know that they were going to be updating the operating system? And so when I plugged it in at night and I woke up in the morning, it said, "Welcome to the new operating system." And usually those things are pretty uneventful. But this time, I noticed there's a new feature, and there's this little app called Apple Podcasts, which is giving you access to the world of podcasts, and right through your Apple device, your iPhone or whatever. And guess what? They have this new feature now where instead of searching for text and just finding stuff that is in the title or in the description of a podcast, it now searches all of the speech to text recognition within every podcast. And
AI.
folks, you can test this out and see. I mean, I put in my name, and I found a couple other Jake Jacobs is out there doing different podcasts. But I put in Turbo Pit Fighter. I got us. I got things that were mentioned. You can put in anything now. You can put in Russ Meyer, put in any search term, and you not only get the hit, but you also get the sentence that it was mentioned in, so you can see if it was just like a passing a mention, or if it was like a segment that they're doing. Really interesting, because now we can we can say all kinds of keywords and potentially get picked up, as long as we got our if we conceivably had our YouTube channel being spidered by that same software.
Well, look, I just want to repeat again. One of the things, there's two things that I'm betting my whole business strategy on right now. And this is not a joke. It's literally two things. First thing I talk about all the time is hand-drawn, handmade art, all the way up to the point where, 90-something% is what's going to the printer and very little digital. The second thing is exactly what you just described. Is nothing new to me, because it's exactly what I'm following when it comes into technology. And Google's been doing it for a couple years now. They can the YouTube, because it's owned by Google, they read the video content.
The text to speech.
I have literally I do self-educational stuff on apps and programs I use and so on and so forth. It will go to the video. It will show you in the Google search the video, and then the segment that they talk about and explain how to do it. I mean, now the prediction I have is they will be able to, like you did a Jake Jacobs, let's say you do a Jake Jacobs search. That what it'll do is it'll give you then options. Do you want Jake Jacobs who does Turbo Pit Fighter? You want Jake Jacobs who's the national pitcher for
there's
baseball.
No,
so they'll go through all the Jake Jacobs, right? And then when you hit Jake Jacobs Pit Fighter, it will then generate a video that will give a synopsis of who you are. And in the video, it will give you the ability to move down deeper into content. So what we've done for ourselves in making this podcast and nearing our 2-year mark has literally, we have created a rabbit hole for people for exponentially. It's no longer, I put this episode out and it's a week old and nobody wants to watch it. It's not that at all. I get comments all the time on all of our old videos, right?
Yeah.
So we do need to be more conscious about what we're talking about in a keyword way. And one of the things I'm going to push us in the summer to do more of is how to, and really actually be able to key the video title and then go depth into it, because it's even smart. So you can't make a 3-hour video. You can, but it's not going to work. You do a 3-hour video, you call it, because the most trending thing right now is brush pens and inking for independent comics, right? And that's the name of your video. But out of the 3 hours, you spend 2.5 minutes talking about how to use the pen, and everything else is just, like that. It's going to skip you because it's going to find somebody who actually creates more of a depth to the 3 hours. Maybe it's only a 15-minute that talks about that brush. So that's what's going to give the higher ranking. So I'm super excited. Like I said, I'm super excited about this because I'm not making any of this up. I spend every morning on 2 or 3 email I receive, like a blog from people who are watching, and they're deciphering the papers on AI, and it's all about search engines. That's what AI is about. It's all about search engines. And the creative part of it is going to be something that we're going to be able to use as a tool. Writing and image making, animation as well, video, and we're sitting pretty, Jake. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We're sitting pretty, because as soon as we get retired, this thing's gonna go off.
Well, as soon as we get retired, I'm gonna be making. I asked some of these creators that are full time. I said, what does it feel like to wake up Monday morning 9 o'clock and sit down at your drawing table and just make comics? And they were like, it's terrible because the phone rings, the doorbell rings, you gotta be on the phone with the insurance company for 45 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I know what they mean, because every time I'm home from school, it's like, as soon as I turn around, it's 3 o'clock, and I'm like, where the hell did the day go? So these guys are like, you never know what day it is. It's 7 days a week. You don't know. It's all a blur. And, and so, they end up working on Saturday, Sunday. They don't give themselves, self-care sometimes. So, there's definitely pitfalls to that. But, I'm sure there's a honeymoon period where I'm just going to be like, really just having fun, cranking out pages. I mean, that's what I want to do. So, so there was that one. There was that little thing, and so we should be aware of that. That, like, every little word, that gets put on these videos and podcasts, is all being analyzed by AI now. People might want to think twice if they want to try to slip something in and think it's going to get by anybody now. Like, God forbid, like, some saying, like, the N word, like 12 years ago, and whatever context, and then people are going to be like, aha, but that's a modern life in the digital age, right? Nothing gets by anyone nowadays. Any tweet that you make, any Instagram post, could be right on the front page of the Daily News. I was going to say the New York Times, wrong. The New York Post. But there was, before we run out of time, I know we have to get to a creator interview at 11:30. Before we run out of time, I wanted to have a talk, and folks are going to witness now. Two creators that we're definitely partners on this podcast enterprise and everything, and we're making a comic. So I needed to talk business with you a little bit, and in production. I was looking at the pages that you sent me. We went over the cover. We went over the the art already. A couple of typos slipped by me. I guess I didn't read them carefully enough, but I think you had some transposed letters and stuff. No big deal. I mean, it's like only 2 seconds to fix. But I noticed that the lettering is kind of like splattered sometimes with the pen you're using, and sometimes it's really, sometimes it's really quicker than others. Like, I love that first page that you did, but then it seems like it got, like a quicker style later. So I want to propose to you, how about we switch, and instead of hand lettering, we do the font thing. I create a font. I actually already did it last night. I want to show you. I created a font on Calligrapher using the advice of one of our comic creator indie exchange people who had done this, and they took a they just you just get this sheet where you make your own letter for every letter in the alphabet, And this website Calligrapher turns it into a font, and you download it as a TTF, and it works like a charm. I tried it, and I put in a font, and I think if I do the hand lettering in Quark, I think we can skip a step in going forward, and we might have to, go backwards a little bit too, just to make it all match. But I was wondering how you think, if we kind of streamline the process a little bit, because
I'm totally down. I'm totally down with it. I think the thing we need to be conscientious about is that it does hold a truer side of hand lettering to it than not. And I'm just now looking at the clock, and we are way over. Like, we're literally coming up on 50 minutes, and we have 15 minutes until our next our interview with an amazing artist and writer, Mike Jasorka. So I say we're going to have to put this on the hold for next week, because I have a whole bunch of thoughts about it. But I want to say with assurance, I'm in line with you. So let's close this down.
Let's talk about it a little more in depth, because I could have it all queued up and show you the font I made already.
I think it would be it would make a great how-to video. Is what I would say. We would just spend an entire episode and we would figure it out. But I think we need to get another set of pages done, like 6 pages or whatever we're going to do after this teaser. We have a lot to do, but right now this teaser has to be put to bed. So I'm going to send you 13 by 19 originals with the text already. You want the PDFs or the embedded text JPEG?
Just give it to me. Just give it to me one way, and if I finish all the pages, send it to you. Then you can send me the PDFs, or I could just make my own PDFs if you just show me the the ropes on that.
Okay. So because I really want to get this out. I really want to get it out. So
well, I can work on it. I can work on it today when I get back. So I'm willing to put some time in today. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
But all right. But so we'll table this for next time. But this is a little sneak peek at the font I just made as a test, and nice. I'm not that happy with it. I'm definitely gonna fix it up and do stuff.
It's a good start.
It's amazing. It's amazing. There was great advice to make your own font in Calligrapher and figure this out. So more to come, folks.
Awesome. All right, Jake. Well, let's get these people get back to reading comics, making them if they do. Do you have anything on the out?
No, folks. Check out our other channels. We got Creators That Influence episode about to be taped now. And then check out our many flip-throughs of great comics on Comics That Influence. So dig our YouTube channel while it's there.
Right. See ya.